Hey folks, and welcome back to Glenn and Adrian's Rock Talk. That's Adrian.
And that's Glenn.
And today we're returning to early Fleetwood Mac, the Peter Green variety. We're looking at another clip from a show we looked at earlier, also featuring Fleetwood Mac. That was Homework. This one is Dust My Broom, Please Find My Baby. It's essentially Dust My Broom, but with other lyrics on top as well as Dust My Broom lyrics. Dust My Broom was actually a song written by Robert Johnson. He's the guy that sold his soul at the crossroads, according to legend. It was also made famous by Elmore James, the guy who actually Jeremy Spencer of Fleetwood Mac takes a lot of cues from in playing those slide guitar licks. That's like Elmore James all the way. Numerous artists have played it ever since. But it pretty much encapsulates what Jeremy Spencer was doing during his time with Fleetwood Mac. This was also requested. So, Adrian, do you have any thoughts ahead before we look at this?
Well, I've heard a ZZ Top version of this song.
That tracks. I mean, they're from Texas. Probably the entire town of Austin, Texas. All the musicians know Dust My Broom. Let's listen to Jeremy Spencer, and you'll get a good sense of what he sounded like. Jeremy did a very good imitation. Basically, if it wasn't this, it was an Elvis cover with Jeremy. Other Fleetwood Mac fans, you can give your thoughts on that. It seemed to me that's about the universe that he liked the most. Rockabilly, Elvis, Elmore James type thing. But definitely looking forward to this live performance and in Paris on New Year's Eve, 1968. So
live performance. All right.
Let's go ahead and check it out. what'd you think, Adrian?
Oh, well, the lyrics are completely different, but other than that, it's a great 12-bar blues tune.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. There are a lot of blues songs that do that exact thing that we just heard. Like Dust My Broom may arguably have been one of the first that sounded like that, but many have followed that are a lot like that. In fact, a lot of Elmore James's songs sound very similar, because he does that kind of thing a lot. I mean, it's a great lick. I can see why it survives so well, and gets used so often. Elmore was called the king of the slide guitar in his day, and he's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for that reason.
Sounds appropriate. It's just a thrill to see the early Fleetwood Mac again, and they're playing something really cool. And, there's a room full of people and everything. I kind of wish I was there.
It's kind of a made-for-TV situation. We touched on this a little bit the last time we looked at a clip from this particular event. And they have lots of big-name bands here, including The Who. But most, or maybe not most, but certainly a large number of them are miming their performances. Like The Who's performance was completely mimed, for example. But this, I think Fleetwood Mac's set was completely live. So it really just depended. It does have a lot of good stuff, and I'm sure we're going to go back to it because there's so many bands represented there. Anything we can find that's live, especially, we'd like to do. But yeah, Fleetwood Mac, the early stuff is so much fun, and there's a lot of variety. Now, granted, if you listen to their very first album, you may not hear that much variety necessarily because it's pretty much a straight-up blues album. There are songs that sound like this, and others that are, definitely in the realm of blues, and very basic, no keyboards. You walk away going, well, it kind of felt like a lot of the same thing, but over a little bit of time, it didn't take very long. By the time they got to Then Play On from 1969, they were incorporating a number of different styles. At that point, they had Danny Kirwan, and I believe Danny was in this band too. As a matter of fact, he was just over to the far right in our viewpoint, He started to contribute, and he had songs that were a little bit mellower in general. And he wrote a lot of good songs for the band, as a matter of fact, while he was with them. There's a number of other songs I'd like to check out that Peter Green was a part of, including Green Manalishi. That's coming up eventually, folks. If anybody who has a particularly favorite version of Green Manalishi, leave it below for us. But we're definitely going to do that one at some point in the future. But yeah, they were almost like three separate bands that all worked together, like the sounds did work. It was very cool to see this. I'm glad we took a look at it.
Well, I guess I really like the early Fleetwood Mac. I should listen to more of it.
Some good stuff there. Yeah, Elmore James is also responsible for songs like The Sky is Crying, which Stevie Ray Vaughan went on to immortalize. So he was a serious figure in blues. Definitely worth checking out. All right, folks. Well, why don't you let us know what you thought of this? And if there's anything that you think may have escaped our attention, leave that below for us. Any other details that you'd like to share, if you saw the Fleetwood Mac back then, give us any recommendations you have. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. And if you enjoyed the presentation, please subscribe. All right, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll catch you on the next one. All right, take care, folks.
See you all later.